Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends X-Men animated series styling, sort of, kind of based on the old cartoon, but not really, but we're trying to get money, so we're gonna say that Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister is actually one of my favorite X-Men characters of all time. I like the story, I like the look more than anything. I think he's got one of the coolest comic book video game villain looks ever. The white face with the black features and then the blue suit with the cape and red. I just love it. I love it. Question of the day, how much do you love Mr. Sinister? Second question of the day, if you don't, why? What's wrong with you? Alright, let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 18 centimeters to the top of his head. That's going to make him pretty close to... he's just over 7 inches. It's right around there. He's leaning forward. It's not a perfect measurement, but you get the idea. Alright, we're going to take a quick look at this guy just because I want to. I haven't looked at him really other than I just pulled him out of the box, took a quick peek, and threw him on the thing. So we're going to do it together, guys. Alright, we already did the question of the day, so let's jump into the aesthetic. So far, this animated series line has been a giant dog turd. It's been awful, very disappointing, especially at the price point. This one is the best one yet. People like Wolverine the most probably because they finally got an animated series style Wolverine mask, but this one is the best executed so far by a lot. It is still ridiculously flawed, but it is the best by a lot. Now the first thing I want to say, we don't even need the figure for it. Somebody mentioned this in the comments, I don't know if I've mentioned it yet. Cell style shading, cell shaded paint jobs if you will. You can't just do it with one color. It doesn't really work. You can do the cartoon look for other things with like the heavy black line work like NECA's Ninja Turtles, but that's not what this is. Look at his arm. It's blue, but we have a big black line and then the white. I'm not even going to count this glow right here. You have the white, you have the white, you have the highlights and the lowlights. Look at back here. Dark, main color, white. That's almost always the case. There's 3 different shades in his face. That's a normal thing. His hair, black, blue, white. That's how you do it, at least. None of these figures have 3 colors in their shading, except for in very specific spots. For instance, this guy's belt. And I do think his is the first one that has 3 colors. But it still doesn't look like anything. The way they did the shading doesn't really make sense. We have the red, then the darker red, and the grayish black. Fine. But throughout the body... it's the best one yet because it's the most paint so far. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. But the way they did it, it's not even black, it's weird, it's gray because it's flat black even though he's glossy blue. It's super strange. But there's a lot of it around him and it does look really good. I mean, as far as the actual paint job goes, it's super clean. But it definitely should be black and it definitely should have white in it. I don't get it. And then they do things like this where it's on the right side of his leg. His left, our right. It's going down over here, but then on the foot it's on the inside. Super weird. They did the same thing on this. It's on the outside of the leg and then on the foot it's on the inside. It just looks ridiculous. And for the cape, or the collar, that shouldn't be like that. Why does it have a big streak in it? Like this red jutting out. It shouldn't be like that. Look here. Just do it like that. Like... what? Why? Stop overthinking and making things weird. Just do it easy. The hair has a little bit of blue in it. That's nice. But it should have more. It's just weird. It's weird. This one's the best one yet, don't get me wrong, but the fact that it's not actually black, it's a flat finished gray paint job on top of the glossy blue plastic is weird. People are complaining that the cape's not accurate to the cartoon. I agree, but it's the same cape that we got before, and I said it was crap before, and it's still crap. Okay, so we have a lot of these tassels, but they're not. It's like a few tassels, and then they're all glued together. I mean, they're not glued, it's one sculpt. So it looks like absolute garbage. It's flat, it's completely two-dimensional, each piece, and they're all glued together. It doesn't make any sense. They need about half as many tassels, spread them out, and actually make them curve normally. Just curve up and over. I'll put a reference image up from the cartoon. This cape looks ridiculous, but mostly because it's sculpted completely flat, they're sculpted together, and there's like a sculpted curve in some of them. This looks like a kid made it out of paper, only that would have looked better than this. So the way they did this is just 100% terrible. I hate it. It's better than him not having a cape at all, because that would look ridiculous, and from the very front you can't quite tell it's terrible, but it would look so much better if it was accurate and better executed. So, aesthetically speaking, the cape is ridiculous. Otherwise, the figure looks pretty good still. It's not bad. I think his head's a little bit too big, and his chest and torso's a little bit too small. But otherwise, like, he's got that very... Most Marvel Legends these days have kind of like a play school look to them. They're kind of stumpy and squatty. You guys know what I'm talking about? That Model 70 Iron Man was a good example. They're very thick. They have big round feet, smaller... I don't know, it's just weird. It's like a kid designed them almost, rather than a comic book character. Again, I'll show you the reference image. But yeah, this one's easily the best looking of this batch, by far. It would look so much better if they did it right, but it does look really good compared to the others, and generally it looks pretty good. So I'm going to give the aesthetic rating, not counting the cape, because it's just an old mold, and yeah, they should have made a new one, but I'm going to be a little easy on that. I'll go 8. I'll go 8. There's a lot of shading paint work on here. It's not particularly good for cell shading, but there's a lot on here, and it is very clean. It is the wrong color. I'm going 7. It's the wrong color. Why is it gray? It should be black. It should be black. And then some white highlights, please. Goodness gracious. Okay, alright, let's talk about the accessories. Let's get into that, because this is going to take a while for the accessories. They packed in a whole... Actually, though, there's no accessories, none, 0. No accessories, 0 out of 10. Okay, let's talk about the articulation. Head can lean back. There's a collar there, so we're not going to go too far. And it can lean down, that's fine. Of course, it can rotate, and it is on a ball peg, so you get the tiniest bit of attitude, but not really. The shoulder pads are connected to the torso, so that will affect the posability quite a bit. You can't rotate them around very far. Raising them up to the side, just about horizontal, that's okay. Your bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow is fine. Generally, this guy is sculpted well. I do want to say that. I do think the proportioning could be tweaked, but the sculpt is pretty good. I like the head. I like the... Although I think he's a little bit too much of a box head, but whatever, it's okay. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. Ab crunch on this guy. Goes back 1 notch. Terribly executed. Doesn't have a giant gap, but minimal posability. Goes forward 1 notch. Decent range. It's okay. Waist twist is a waist twist. Belt is floaty. Hips go all the way up to a little bit better than horizontal, but they do kick out to the side. That's disappointing. They don't really go back at all. Out to the side. Pretty good range. One of the better hip ranges. Better than the new Vulcan mold. Better than the new Spider-Man mold. Well, the retro Spider-Man mold. So his hips are okay. Thigh swivel is underneath his boots, which is okay. Double jointed knees are not great. They're not bad, but they're not great. Also, his lower legs are too big for his upper legs, but just by a little bit, so it's not that big of a deal. For the ankles, they're really nice ankles because we get this rotation at the top of his little boot cuff thingy, and we get our hinge here. So if you do it in conjunction, it's basically a perfectly hidden sculpted ankle rocker, which means his ankle hinge is very nice. Going back is good. Going forward is not great, but it's enough. He still has the oversized boots. You see how much they stick out in the back? So yeah, it's still the same figure as before other than paint job. It's not great, but the articulation's fine. I'll give it a 6. I don't know, you could go 7. It's just, no, for the price point 6. You can't keep releasing 10-year-old figures, or however old this particular one is, and have the price be so much higher without giving us something for it. Nothing gets marked up 30%, 40% in one generation. That's nuts. Whatever. Okay, our final verdict on this guy. Easily the best of the animated figures so far, not just because I love Mr. Sinister, it's because they have the most paint on him. They did the most effort to make him look good, but then they still screwed it up by not painting it glossy black, or at least satin black. Something, this weird flat black that looks slightly greenish is weird. The cape is still weird, the articulation's average. They need to do better for the price point. I like this one the most. Personally, I'm pretty happy with this other than the weird flat black paint job, but as a reviewer, it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. And he should be more of a navy blue rather than a royal blue, but I didn't even go there because there are drawings of him. There are versions of him where he's this color, but in the animated series, it's usually more of a navy, kind of like a cobalt navy mix sort of thing. Anyway, okay, let me know how you guys feel about it. I'm going to give it a final verdict of 7. It's fine. It's fine. I need to be harsher on these because of the price point, but I also have to rate them reasonably. I can't give every Marvel Legends a 2 because they cost too much. So, I don't know. You guys let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below. But there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos every single day but Wednesday, and thousands of videos already on the channel for you to check out. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.